Alright, what's going on, folks? Tea Leaves here. I'm coming at you with everything related to the beautiful game, soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. Let's get it started with some Premier League power rankings here. Now, these are just my opinions about the teams in their current state. I am not, if I put, say, someone like Manchester United in uh, outside of the top six, I'm not saying that's where they'll finish outside the season. It's more where I think they're at right now. And of course, everything can go out the window by the time the season concludes. So without further ado, let's get started. 20th, I've got Fulham. They're garbage. They're going to go back down to the championship. I think we all knew this. And Scott Parker's been found out as a manager with no plan B other than pass the ball. 19, Sheffield United. Second season syndrome is hitting real hard here. Their attack was already pretty anemic, hasn't gotten better with Brewster, and their goalkeeping has gotten worse now that Ramsdale is back at his original club and Henderson's at United. Not liking what I'm seeing from them. 18, Burnley. Again, also another anemic offensive team. Dyche will fix it. I'm pretty confident of that, but right now, can't really put them higher than 18th. Sorry, Burnley. 17, West Brom. I got some crows making some noise around here, but even though their noise is a little faint, still more noise than the Baggies are making. Now, granted, the Baggies, I had them staying up before the season. They'll do well. Bilic is a okay to mediocre manager, but there's a lot of young talent on this team. Carlin Grant, big pickup. They have a proper number 9 now, and I could still see them staying up. But again, could easily see them going down. We don't really know. There's a lot of action still to come. 16, I have Brighton. Defensively, shambles. I like how Graham Potter's got the team playing offensively, though, but it's just not enough. I like Connolly. I like Mopé. I think they're good players. Midfield's a bit weak for me. And defense, I think we need to give Ben White more time. He'll get better. And I think Brighton, I do see good things for them. I think they're going to keep making noises, but I think they're looking at a relegation fight this season still. 15, Newcastle. Now, Newcastle are a team that I feel right now it's Callum Wilson carrying a bunch of scrubs. Apart from maybe Jamal Lewis, he's done okay coming from Norwich. I could honestly see Ryan Fraser as he gets more games. I honestly don't see him working out just because he basically chose not to play at all at the end of last season so he could avoid injury because he's a wimp. Don't respect him. Feel bad for Bournemouth who went down because of that. Very disrespectful. And Steve Bruce is meh. And the team's just going to play defensive, dull. They'll stay up. 15 is where I got them. 14, Man United. Now, this is only based off of league play. If they can carry on from what they did to Leipzig, boy, they're going to move up. And the only reason I have them here is because I'm really not impressed with what I've seen from them this Premier League season. Bruno Fernandes carrying the team as much as he can. Defense, shambolic. De Gea, surprisingly not so, but the rest of the defense, pretty bad apart from AWB. Midfield apart from Fernandez, pretty bad. Need to see more Van de Beek, and they looked a little toothless up front, but I think that also had to do with Anthony Martial being out for a bit and not consistent amount of game time for Mason Greenwood. Dan James shouldn't be anywhere near the team. Ole, fix it. That's all I got to say. 13, West Ham. Great result against Man City. What a goal by Antonio. I like what I'm seeing from West Ham. Moyes has turned around his career. I don't think West Ham are actually going to be in a relegation battle this season, judging off what I've seen. And, Declan Rice looking good. Jared Bowen's looking good. I mean, the only concern for me was the lack of transfer investment in the summer, but hopefully they're able to get good use of what they've already got, and I think they are so far. 12, I've got Chelsea. Now, that result against United was pretty abysmal. They should have had a penalty though, but again, pretty abysmal. Yeah, no, Frank needs to be doing better. He's got a lot of attacking quality, but it's clear that defensively, I don't think he's been able to properly address um, their weakness apart from, being able to sign players. I mean, Mendy's a good pickup. Thiago Silva, we'll see how much he's got in him. Chilwell's a good pickup, but again, there's still a lot of uncertainty um, regarding Frank Lampard as a coach. This season's going to determine whether he's for real or if he's a fraud. 11, I have Arsenal. Terrible performance against Leicester. I thought they were good in the first half, probably should have won, but second half, dismal, disappointing, atrocious. They were terrible. And Cengiz Ünder and Jamie Vardy coming off the bench, getting back to fitness from injury, scoring the winner. Why am I? I don't think I'm surprised. Don't think anyone's surprised. Typical Jamie Vardy, typical Leicester, with just the great counterattacking play, and even when they are not going to be on the front foot, they are great at being able to pass out of the back and get the ball forward quickly. Brendan Rodgers is a manager I greatly appreciate, and Arsenal, I expect better. Aubameyang on the left, what's that? Arteta, what are you doing? Get it together, man. Unbelievable. 10, I have Wolves. Yeah, he should have beaten Newcastle. I mean, great goal by Jimenez, but yeah, I should have had more goals. I'm pretty concerned with the lack of forward depth outside of Neto, and Jimenez, and I guess Traore. I don't really know what he's been like. He's mostly been deployed as a I can't say English. He's been deployed as a right wing back most of the season. Yeah, I'm not really happy with how they're going forward, and that right wing back spot is still a concern. Semedo, I'm not really impressed with him so far at Wolves. He's not looking like the player he was at Benfica. He's still Alfonso Davies is still giving him nightmares a couple months later. 9, I've got Crystal Palace. They've started brilliantly this season, and Wilf Zaha back to his best. I was pretty confident they would get relegated at the start of the season. That is right. I thought Crystal Palace would get relegated because of how terrible they were. Can't say words. How terrible they were at the end of last season. Just atrocious. They had no attack. Zaha was looking terrible. They've turned around this season. Roy Hodgson putting in his usual Roy Hodgson masterclasses. But I guess we shouldn't expect anything less at this point. Crystal Palace doing well to start the season. 8, Southampton, another team punching above their weight. Ralph Hasenhüttl, what a job he's done. Danny Ings, Che Adams looking lethal up top. James Ward-Prowse getting the goods done in the midfield. And he's got the side set up to defend robustly and counter from the back with great swiftness. He's got a lot of pace with the likes of Walker Peters, Bertrand, experienced left back. Center back, they'll hopefully get Salisu, and he looked promising in Valladolid, but, I like what I'm seeing from them. Ralph Hasenhüttl, I'm surprised that he could only get a job at Southampton after Leipzig. He looked really good there, and now he's at Southampton. I mean, what a coup. 7, Aston Villa. I mean, I could have been harsher towards them after the loss to Leeds, but I mean, I guess I could keep them here, but I mean, they could be anywhere from like 7 to like 13 in this. They were terrible against Leeds. No offensive impetus. Defensively shambles. Looked nothing like the team that destroyed Liverpool 7-2. And Marcelo Bielsa, my God, what a manager. I mean, if it wasn't obvious before, at least to, pie-eating Englishmen, I mean now it's super obvious. He's getting the job done with a team of, honestly, a lot of championship standard players, and they're playing above their weight. And unlike Sheffield, they're playing beautiful, beautiful stuff. Love watching them play. They're absolutely entertaining to watch. They'll give a game to anybody. And Marcelo Bielsa, what a job he has done at Leeds. Big fan of his. I see, and I see big things for him. But for Aston Villa, Dean Smith, fraud. We knew this, but I mean, he's a fraud. He's going to be carried by the likes of McGinn, Grealish, um, Barkley, and Watkins the whole season, and I could see Aston Villa slipping further and further back. Six-man City, um, yeah, they've looked pretty mediocre to start the season. Defensively, they look terrible. Even with Diaz, they've looked a bit suspect, but again, an improvement on what they had prior to that. Attacking wise, I mean, they need to make sure Aguero stays fit. Otherwise, they don't really have a good number 9. I don't think you want to see a 17-year-old starting for your team if you're Man City and you've pumped a lot of money into your team looking to win the Champions League, and you have to play a random 17-year-old academy kid up top. I mean, that's not ideal. And Fernandinho, um, that role in the midfield needs to be properly replaced. Rodri hasn't done it. So Pep, you're looking a bit fraudulent. 5 is Leeds. Again, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to wax lyrical about Bielsa because I've always appreciated how he plays, the amount of effort he puts into to setting his teams up, improving the quality of the players he has at his disposal, looking for challenges, playing attractive football. I mean, what's there not to love? Patrick Bamford looks nothing like the bang average striker who couldn't score a goal in the Premier League. Well, he scored one, but I mean, come on. Like, he's been terrible at several different Premier League clubs. Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Middlesbrough, Norwich, I think he might have been at one point. I forget, but he's bounced around and looked bang average at those teams, and now hat trick against Aston Villa. Well done, Patrick Bamford. Keep it up. For Tottenham, typical Mourinho performance against Burnley. They needed that. They needed a clean sheet after the terrible performance in the second half, specifically the last 15 total minutes from the 82nd on into stoppage time. I don't know what happened defensively. They just disappeared. But the Kane and Son partnership's looking great. But off the back of that Europa League game, they're going to have to keep Bale on the bench, I think, a little bit more. I think he's a class player, but it's clear that he's not really at his scintillating best that he was at. I'd say prior to Zidane coming, he had some great seasons under Zidane. I think 2017-18, he hasn't been same since that bicycle kick, truly. And that defense needs some work still, but Mourinho will probably make it happen because he's a great defensive coach. And I see big things for Tottenham, but they'll probably bottle it, as usual. Third, Leicester City. Great win against Arsenal. They needed that badly after a couple bad results. And I got to say, Brendan Rodgers, what a manager. He looks class again. Great to see him back near the top of the pile. And with a team like Leicester, who, after winning that amazing title in 2016, having to dip into the doldrums a bit with the hangover the year after, then struggling with Puel. I mean, Rodgers has got them playing some very attractive stuff. I love watching them play. However, for me, the concern going forward for them is teams that sit back generally are able to counter pretty easily against them. There are games I see they still have where they'll get 4 total shots because they try to hold on to the ball a little bit too long, and they don't always have that incisive pass on them, and then they'll get countered. I think that's exactly what happened against West Ham, to a degree against Villa, but I think they had more opportunities there. But I still like what they're doing. I don't think this is where they'll be at the end of the season, but it's where they're at right now. 2, I have Liverpool. Important win against Sheffield United. Granted, Sheffield United this season looks abject. They look like they're the championship fodder we expected last season. But Liverpool getting the job done. They needed that after that Van Dijk ACL tear. And, Yeah, I only have them two really because they're decimated by injuries. I mean, now, I mean, I made these rankings before this video, but even now, you've got um, Fabinho. Fabinho's now going to be out for a while. Um, they had Allison out for a while. At least he's going to be back though, instead of Adrian, who honestly looks like Karius 2.0. But Liverpool missing Van Dijk. We're going to see how they do defensively. I'm expecting them to struggle. Number one, I'm going to still have Everton despite that pathetic performance against Southampton. I still like the look of this team. I don't expect it to last what they're doing right now, but Ancelotti's a class manager. I think he's been severely disrespected in recent years, especially by those Bayern players. Now, granted, obviously, Bayern's done way better without Ancelotti than with Ancelotti, but I mean, it's Ancelotti, class manager. And the thing that I love most about Ancelotti is he's not stubborn. He's actually, he's a very tactically flexible coach. He's not going to just play attacking. He's not going to just play defensive. He's going to do um, whatever the team needs and what fits his players. Now, he obviously got Alan Decore and Hamas in the summer transfer window. And Hamas, of course, is a guy who I've known, he and Ancelotti just click, and you know you work with people you work with people you know how to get the best out of. You play a system that gets the best out of those players, you're going to win games. And now the thing is, not having Richarlison, not having Digne, that's going to hurt for another game or so. But once they get back to full strength, I still expect them to keep contending and keep doing what they're doing. So yeah, that's my power rankings for this week. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And you know, if you have any other ideas for what I should do, any other suggestions, drop them on down in the comments. Or if you hate me and think I'm annoying or whatever, you can fire that on down in the comments as well. Anyways, as tea leaves, peace out.